So this is a rather difficult Talambam. This is an advanced class. Don't even think about listening to this class unless you're completely plugged into the topic, because you won't follow a thing. So we're in Ilchot Isoray Bi'a Perek Chet, Halachat Tet Zayin. We're going to read. There's a few halachot I want to read here because they are rather difficult to understand. So Kol Isha Sheta'ata Velo Yadea Et Vestaha Vera'ata Dam Hosheshet Lezivut. So again, she made a mistake. She doesn't know when her veset is, right? And now she has a dam. So, because she doesn't know when the veset is, she doesn't know is it dam nida or dam ziva, and the hashash is that it's dam ziva. Lefichach, imrata yom echad lo shenayim yoshevet tashlum shivah. So if she only saw 1 or 2 days, then that's easy. Because anyway, if it was during her ziva, then she would only be shomeret yom keneged yom, so there's no problem. But it might be during the nida, so that's why yoshevet tashlum shivah, right? Shemet dam ze b'mei nidatahu. That's what we're mahmirim, and we tell her to finish the 7 days of Yemei Nida, and only then make tevilah on the 8th day at night. But if she saw 3 days, again, she doesn't know when the veset is, because she doesn't know when the veset is. She doesn't know if these 3 days are during the Yemei Nida or during the Yemei Ziva. So in this case, she has to be soferet shiva yemei nekiyim, 7 clean days, which works whether she's nida or she's ziva. She's zava. That's it. She can be tovelet. Shemeh b'yemei zivata omedet. It could have been during the Yemei Ziva. That's why she needs 7 clean days. V'chesed היא עושה לתקן וסתה ולדע אם היא זבה ודאית או ספק זבה ולדע ימי זיבתה, הכל יפי ימים שתראה בהם. Okay, so now we know what she does with respect to that particular instance. She's mahmira, and she assumes the worst case scenario as it is. But how does she reset or recalibrate her veset? That's a question. That's what we're going to deal with now. And that's where it gets a little tricky. Kesad. V'ata yom echad o shenayim mashlemet alehem hashivah. So if she has dam for 1 day or for 2 days, then she has to be mashlima the shiva, as we said before, because it could have been during the Yemei Nida. V'tachil limnot ha'achad asar yom echad hashiva, and then when the 7 days are done, she counts 11 days, and then 7, and then 11, and then 7, and then 11. So that's easy. Meaning the assumption is that the dam that she saw was the beginning of the veset. Continuing. If she saw 3 days, that is a safek zava. Now we know that we don't know whether it was during the Yemei Nida or during the Yemei Zava, so she's safek zava. Why is she safek zava? Well, if she saw the 3 days and it was during the Yemei Ziva, she would be zava, but we don't know. Shemei yom echad mehem kodem nidata, u'shnayim etchilat nida. Right? We don't know exactly how it was. V'chen im ra'ata arba'a, shemei shenayim kodem hanida, u'shnayim etchilat nida. So again, we have the safek. And so in this case, v'yoshevet hamisha tashlum yemei nida. So again, she saw 3 days, right? Or she saw 4 days. So we assume, for purposes of recalibrating the veset we're talking about here, the assumption is that the minimum number of days took place during the Yemei Ziva. That's the assumption. So if it was 3 days, we say that only 1 day was during the Yemei Ziva, and then 2 days were during the Yemei Nida. That's where we work this out. And then the 2 days during the Yemei Nida starts the time of the Veset. Or if she saw 4 days, we assume again 2 days during the Yemei Ziva and 2 days during the Yemei Nida. We don't want to give it 3 days during the Yemei Ziva on the one hand, because then she would be Zavat Gedolah, and we would not be recalibrating the Veset, but we also don't want to give it nothing during the Yemei Ziva. We try to allocate between the Yemei Ziva and the Yemei Nida. That's a trick to understanding this halacha, is we don't want to say just, it's all Yemei Nida. No, we don't want to say, it's all Yemei Ziva. Rather, we try to allocate between the Yemei Nida and the Yemei Ziva. That's the trick. So if she saw 4 days, we say 2 and 2. Shemesh Shnaim Kodem Anida Shnaim Techilat Anida. V'yoshevet Hamisha. So according to that recalibration, she would have to sit 5 days after the 2 days of Nida again. She saw 4 days. We're assuming 2 belong to the Yemeziva, 2 belong to the Yemenida, and then she would finish the 5 days. Tashlum Yemenida, V'chalasar Yemeziva, Achana Hamisha, and then the 11-day Yemeziva cycle would start. Right? So if it was an Atash Shayamim, we assume 1 day was during the Yemeziva, the 2 days were during the Yemenida, and she would be mashleim at Hamisha. You see the way that works? The same thing. Here it's 9 days, so we say the first 2 days were Yemeziva. The next 7 days were Yemenida. Also, again, we always want to allocate some number of days to the Yemeziva. We want to allocate some number of days, of course, to the Yemenida, as has to be. But we want to do it in a way where she doesn't become a Zava Gedola. So if it's 11 days that she saw, so let's think about it. You have 7 days, you could have 4 left over. You could have 2 days of Yemeziva at the beginning, 2 days of Yemeziva at the end. So what you're going to do is, from the 3rd day of seeing, it's going to be Nida, and then you're going to start the Veset from that 3rd day. So that's what he's going to say, I think. וכן אם ראתה 11 יום, הרי זו ספק זבה. שמש שלם קודם הלידה, ושבעה של נידה, ושלם לאחר הנידה. ושלם ימי זיבתה 9. Right, because, and so when she finally stopped seeing the dam, those 2 last days were from the 11 days of Ziva, and therefore she has 9 days of Ziva left, and then you start the cycle again, 7 and 11, 7 and 11. Okay. If she had 12 days. Now in this case, you have to say she's Zava Gedola. That is Zava Vada'it. שאפילו היו מהם שניים לפני הלידה, בשבעה של לידה, עליה שלושה לאחר הלידה, ויש לה ממזיבתה שמונה. So, again, we're going to allocate between the Yemeziva and the Yemenida, but here we have 5 Yemeziva. So what we're going to do is we're going to say the first 2 Yamim were Yemeziva, she was Zava Ketana from the last 2 days of the previous 11-day cycle. Then she has 7 days, she's Nida. Then she has 3 days where she's Zava Gedola because of the new 11-day cycle. Right? Then when she finally stops seeing, 11 minus 3 is 8. And she has 8 days. And then on the 9th day, it's the first day of the next 7-day Nida cycle, and then 11 days of Ziva and so on. If she saw 13 days, again, we're going to allocate between the 2 Ziva cycles. We're going to say she was Zava Gedola from the first 3 days. Then she was Nida, 7 days. That's 3 plus 7 is 10. And then another 3 Zava Gedola from the 11-day cycle, and then she's going to have 8 days left. Oh no, that didn't work. Again, let's figure this out. She saw 13 days. Why Shiv'a? Let's do it again. 13 days, so 7 are going to be Nida, 6 are going to be Zava. There's going to be 2 periods of Zava Gedola. So we'll say 3 days was from the previous 11-day cycle. 7 days are from the Nida cycle. 3 days are from the new Zava cycle. And then okay, so now we learn something new from this halacha, and I figured it out. You always try to push the Zava Gedola to the subsequent 11-day cycle. So you're going to say that the previous, so she saw 2 days during the previous 11-day cycle, so she wasn't Zava Gedola at that point, right? Then there's 7 days of Nida, and then there's going to be 4, so 2 and 7 is 9, and then we're going to say during the subsequent 11-day cycle, she was Zava Gedola, and there was 4 days of Re'iyah. That's very interesting, and that's why she has 7 days left. Very interesting the way it works. So So she saw 1,000 days. כשיפסוק אדם, סופרת 7 ימי נקיים. Obviously, she has to count 7 clean days, because at the very least, she's a gedolah, obviously. Not even a safek. And then you count, so when you have a crazy amount of days, she becomes zavag, she counts 7 clean days, and then she starts the new veset, meaning, that's an unusual law. That I don't understand. Let's see this. Let's see if Makbili might explain it. Chai Makbili, אם נמשך מחזור אדם הרבה, כיוון לא ניתן לשער מתי חלה עת וסתה, ולסף ימי הדימום, ותינוקו חכמים שישאלו 7 ימי נקיים בימי זיוותה לפני תחילת ימי נידתה. So it's תקנת חכמים. When it's such a large amount of days, we say count 7 clean days, and then it's going to be like 7 days of Nidah, 11 days of Zivah, 7 days of Nidah, 11 days of Zivah. That's the Takanat Chachamim, what to do. We have to start with somewhere. We have to do something. You can't just, right? Halamata, Shekol HaTo'ah, En Amona Mishi Sok Hadam, Mishi Pasek Hadam, Pachot Mishiv'ah, Velo Yotar Shiv'ah V'yavor Yemei Nidata. Because if she saw 1,000 days, then she would only have 7 clean days, and then you would start counting the Yemei Nidah. But for example, if she saw Shelosha Asar Yom, right, so then she would, or one of the other combinations, it would be a different number of days. It would be 17 days. Because, for example, if she saw 13 days, we said that she would have 7 days to count, right, after the 13 days, right? Kesan, we said that in the previous halacha. Mona shiv'a asar. Shisha shel tashlum nidata, v'chal yemei zivata, v'yavo yemei nidata. ואם ראתה 13, ייתן מונה 7, ושיפסוק אדם, ויבוא ימי נדתה כמו שבאנו. So it looks like this, somehow 17 days seems to be the maximum number of days that she would have to go before counting the new Nidah cycle.